So we're going to start with using a Markdown cell. Markdown cells are different from code cells in that you can put comments in them. They're not to run code. So I can't run code in a Markdown cell, but the format is a little bit nicer for any kind of written text. This is where I'll put what we'll be doing today. So the first thing we're going to do is create data for a data frame. And the second thing we're going to do is populate a data frame. So a data frame is a very awesome and helpful, useful structure in Python. It's available through the pandas library. The cool thing about a data frame is that you can use it to store your data, and then you can perform analyses using the data frame. It's a really useful way to organize your data. So first things first, let's import pandas. And then I'm going to give it a little nickname, PD. Import pandas as PD. This is typically, PD is the shorthand that's used for pandas. And the reason you do that is because every time you are using something from the pandas library, you're going to either need to do pandas dot whatever function you're using, or you can use PD because we've given it a shorthand. And I'm going to run. And you see that in Jupyter Notebooks, when I run, the cell runs here. It's showing 16 because I've been doing a little bit of work using this notebook already. However, if this was the first cell that I ran, it would be showing a 1 here in these brackets. And then when I pressed run, you saw that another cell, coding cell, appeared afterward. So let me actually make this a little bigger just to make sure. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to use a dictionary to populate our pandas data frame. This isn't the only way to populate the data frame, but it's a really helpful way. We're going to make a really simple data frame for this exercise, but let's get started with the dictionary structure. So a dictionary is defined by curly braces, and it's made up of key value pairs. I'll be making another video to talk more about dictionaries. For now, though, I'll just talk about them enough for this exercise. So I'm going to call this D equals, and then open curly braces. And then in order to create a dictionary that will populate the data frame, I want the keys to be column names and the values to be row values. So my data frame is going to have 2 columns. It's going to have, actually, let me start writing this here. Columns will be name and age. And name will have data type string, and age will have data type integer. So here, I'll say name as my key, and then, oops, colon. And then when I want to populate the row values for the name column, I'm going to put them in a list. So let's say Kate, Joy, Nadine. Those are the 3 names I'll be using. And then comma, the next key will be age. And again, I do a colon, and then again, I use a list for the row values for age. I'll say 65, 57, and 24. Cool. And then I'm just going to do a little check to make sure that my curly braces are closed. This is a really cool feature of Jupyter Notebooks that you can actually go through, and when you click on one of the brackets or the braces, the pair, the pair one appears as well. Okay, things look right. I'll get an error if there's anything wrong. I'll run that. Okay, great. Cool. The next thing I'm going to do is make my data frame. So I'm going to call it DF. And then when you're making a data frame, you want to use PD dot, and then remember this PD is coming from here, this nickname I've given pandas, and then data frame. Note that the D is capitalized and the F is capitalized. If you don't do it this way, you're going to get an error. And then in parentheses, I'm going to say write type data equals D. This is a parameter. It's just letting the data frame know where we're getting the data from, and we're getting it from D, which is our dictionary. D here, D there. So let's run that. Okay, that runs. Great. Now let's just check out our data frame. And as you can see here, it's really neat. It's nice to look at, nice to read. So the two columns are name and age. And like we discussed before, those are coming from our keys in the dictionary. And then the values, Kate, Troy, Nadine, are string values that are in the value for that column name. And the ages are in that list that are in the value for that age column name. Awesome. So this is one way to populate a pandas data frame. This is not the only way, but it's an often used way. Anyway, until next time.